Good morning, everyone. Grab your coffee. I've got my coffee. Someone made me this cool mug in 2024. Coffee with Carrie. I got my coffee. I've got my notes. I've got my motivation. I got breakfast. I've got my new Starbucks mug. Somebody brought me this back from Miami. You name it. I've got it. Let me go make sure that I'm recording over on. Where are we going? On Zoom. So, again, good morning, everyone. How are you? How's the new year going already? How are things going? We're going to talk about the seller blueprint, seller leads blueprint, discover, connect, and convert. How's it going? How's it going with you? Are you, Mark, where's the checklist? Oh, let me grab the checklist. Is anyone is anybody working their list? If you're in the membership, you're working your list. Is anybody working their list? That's all right. Have you done your list today?
Yes, I
You
worked
have.
out and I cooked you breakfast.
Okay, Mark said he got up, he worked out, and he cooked me breakfast. Have you done anything else? Your daily affirmations?
I prayed.
You pray? Oh,
Yes,
did you
ma'am.
read? At least I read. Okay. Did you mail to your expired yet? Canceled? Send one handwritten note card? You got some time. Because Mark, for those of you that saw my post, Happy New Year. Let me know where are you watching from, and then share this with a friend. Share this with a friend. So Mark, he committed to 2 hours a day. It doesn't mean he's not going to work on his renovations. It doesn't mean he's not going to go try to buy a house on New Year's Day. New Year's Day, we were looking at houses. So yeah, I say going great. Made sure to pull the expireds on January 1st. Cayenne, how many did you find? I have 54. 54 expireds. And I threw them into favorites. And then the next day, there were a few that were relisted, some that were under contract. And what I know about that is some agents that the properties that were under contract and they were no longer listed, those are the agents that didn't follow up with their clients and get those documents signed to get them back on the, to extend the property, the listing, right? So we're watching from where we at? We got, is this Montana? Am I, I need to put my glasses on. I've got Virginia in the building. We've got Illinois. Of course, we need to have Illinois or just Chicago, right? Nobody knows where Illinois is. I had 25 in my area, 12 in Olympia Fields, but some were relisted yesterday. Yep, that's typically what happens, but we still got them in the mail. I sent a few handwritten note cards. We Mark followed up. I even made him sit down and sit with me to go over his clients. He's got like 1.2 million in the pipeline. I'm like, okay, let's go. Let's go. We got College Station, Texas, Lansing, Illinois. Again, invite a friend. So, are you working your checklist? For those of you that don't know what I went live, I think it was November, like right after Thanksgiving, and I talked about how when when you get on a plane, the pilot, the flight attendants, and the ground crew, and even just the entire airport has a checklist of things they have to follow. Even TSA, they have a checklist. So, as real estate agents, do you work an actual checklist to make sure you get done? A surgeon has a checklist. You want the surgeon to have a checklist because you don't want them to keep that stuff in here because you already know. You already know what could happen if they didn't have a checklist. So, I don't like to do handwritten notes, but looking for a site that offers handwritten notes. I think somebody said send out cards could be an option. I like to send handwritten notes, but let me give you a tip. Just send one. If that's a lot, just send one. And you can see Mark had a listing appointment right before the new year. So you got the follow up, all of it. Let me do something different this year before I get into the seller blueprint. I have all these motivational cards sitting over here and I don't use them like I should. Sometimes I mail them out to the agents in my office. Old school handwritten note. Let me give you some motivation. I just picked one that was random. I probably should have been a little more strategic, but here we go. Wait till I get these meta glasses. Let's see. This one is mindset. Take 3 slow breaths in for 4 and out for 6. So this is something that you could do every day. And then it says, physical, emotional, social, and mental. How will I take care of myself by write a note, and then how it made me feel. Self-care is not an expense, it's an investment. Mindset. And I will tell you, sometimes you have to take a break. I feel like I didn't get the breaks that I wanted in 2024, so something different in 2025. All right. So some of you, you already know the drill. You've already said, you've already invited a friend. These iPads and these updates, man, they keep changing things. Do I have my notes open over here? Because I'm like, I can't see. So we're going to update this. So how does your year going already? Tell me in the chat, how is your year going? Has anyone already started working on their business? Have you been working your goals? Are you some of you in the membership, did you actually do your goals back in September? How's it going? How's it going in the world of real estate? What's happening? How are you feeling? Are you feeling a little more optimistic? I'm going to tell you, I already feel more optimistic because I have already seen traction. And a part of the checklist is, this is monthly, but I feel like I should update the list already and put a weekly strategy, although monthly has a weekly strategy. And so in our monthly, it's, emailing to our sphere. And when I emailed right away, someone clicked on the Cloud CMA link to find out what their home was worth. So I already feel like 2025 is going to be amazing, right, Jennifer? So are you ready for 2025? Did you plan and goal set for the year? We are already seeing traction. We are here in Illinois. So again, I'm working with Mark. So far, I printed it. I'm going to print this out every week just to see. Now, again, some of you, I know you're like, Carrie, I'm not doing paper, but I've been walking around the house with this just to make sure things get done. And I think I'm going to put it either in a folder or a binder, and maybe a folder so I can just flip the page and go back to see what's working, what's not working, to see what Mark actually does in 2025. So I'll keep you I'll keep you updated every single week. That's what I'll do. Here, let me do something real quick. All right, sorry, I disappeared for a second. So I will tell you, based on this checklist, I have to go back and review our office standards of practice and update that checklist. And yeah, this year is going to be better than next year. And for those of you that are in the membership, it is on the membership platform. If you don't know where it is currently under the Power Hour for December, pretty sure. If you don't know, go to the help desk and I'll remind you. Maybe I'll send an e-blast. I'll e-blast all of you, all of the checklists, because it has evolved since I taught the class. So when we think about lead generation, what do you struggle with? How many of you, some of you are watching me over on YouTube. Some of you are, most of you are over on Instagram. What do you struggle with when it comes to lead generation? Tell me, what do you struggle with? Especially for sellers. What do you struggle with? What do you struggle with? What do you struggle with? Tell me in the feed, tell me in the chat, what are you struggling with? I'm trying to get over to YouTube to see the chat. Hold on, everybody. What do you struggle with? Tell me in the feed. What do you struggle with as a real estate agent? Getting the listing appointment. Okay. What else do you struggle with? So number one, someone said getting the listing appointment. What else do you struggle with? Is it finding clients? Is it converting the client after you have the appointment? What do you struggle with as a real estate agent? Follow up. And that goes back to the checklist. That goes back to your checklist. So what else? What do you struggle with? So we've got finding clients. What else do you struggle with? We got IG consistency. So the goal is listings right now, but I'll say IG consistency on posting, the follow up and converting. Okay. What else do you struggle with? Finding and converting clients. Keep going. Keep telling me in the chat, what do you struggle with as an agent? So we got finding clients, we got follow up, we've got converting clients, we've got getting things done, lack of focus. here's, without even getting into my list and listening to this, follow up and lack of focus. Some of us need to figure out why we have a lack of focus. What is it with us that we don't focus? Is it because you have a real job? Is it because you are doing work for someone else and they're giving you a paycheck? Is it because you have a natural um, tendency to procrastinate? It's a choice. Everything you do is a choice. Working out is even a choice. Getting up, getting dressed, and getting ready for the day. And you can own it. Like, how many of you actually, some of you, and in the lack of focus, this will solve the lack of focus. This will solve the lack of focus. Giving yourself the work. You've heard me talk about my son, Jonathan, and he's an entrepreneur, but he also has a regular job. He's full time, but he did say, because he goes home and he edits, and because he does video editing now, all my friends are asking him to come take photos, so he's been doing that like on the side. He said in order to do the job of an entrepreneur is you have to give yourself the work. So there's the work. If you are not giving yourself the work, you cannot be successful. But you're willing to go and give someone else your life, your career, your life, your time, your schedule, because they're giving you a paycheck. Write down the what if you lost your job. Have you been at least putting in enough work? Because you can create a checklist. You can create a checklist that works like a part-time agent. What do you do with your time when you have time? Now, I get it. You need to take a break, because this is the self-care tip, of the week. You still need to take a break, but if you truly want to be successful in real estate, you have to give yourself the work. So if you're dual career, you have to take a moment and give yourself the work. If you have lack of focus, maybe your why is not strong enough. I'm going to tell you, some of you know my goal was my goal was in 2 months to make $40,000. I think I hit 35,000 in 2 months. That was my goal. But I had a motivation and I had a why. And there were a couple of credit cards because of travel that I was like, I gotta pay these off. I gotta pay them off. So what is your why that keeps you focused and keeps you going? If you said you wanted to retire, how are you going to do that with real estate? So I see another one, follow up and focus too. I have a 9 to 5, but I still get stuff done. I just have to focus. And Mina, type in the chat over on Instagram the theory, the pal. I never can remember this. Some of you, the focus might mean that you don't. This is so. So some of you need to set a timer because maybe you just don't like the tasks and you don't like the day-to-day stuff, but you like taking clients out, you like showing property, you like the business of real estate, and that's what you really like. So here's the suggestion, because this is what I said to Mark, and he, and I'm sure he can hear me. I said, Mark, how many hours a day can you commit to real estate? And I mean buyers and sellers, tenants, landlords, commercial. How many hours can you commit? And he said 2 to 3. I'm like, no, be matter of fact. And he was like, I can't. I'm like, yes, you can. Yes, you can. He said, okay, 2. So he went with the low end. Some of you need to commit to something. And then when you commit, like I commit to going live on Fridays, I will disappear if the money's right. But I do try to commit to Fridays are for me. Fridays are for me learning. Fridays are for me learning something new. Fridays are for Carrie. And for all of you at 9:05 a.m. ish, I committed to going live. What are you willing to commit to? The reason why you don't have focus is because you haven't committed. Some of you know, if when it comes to walking or working out, because you won't commit. Like this morning, I was like, oh, but we have a friend, Elaine, from grade school. She created a group. We all chat every day, all day. Some people are like, yeah, I'm going to eat. Some people are like, I'm going to have a glass of wine. Some people cook and they show us and make us all jealous because they actually cook all day. But she's like, okay, get moving. And she's motivating all of us to get moving. And it's motivating us to actually work out, even though it's going to be different for all of us. So sometimes you need somebody to help you focus. You need a team member. All right. So here we go. I had some of you said you struggle with finding the client. Some of you struggle with getting the listing appointment. Some of you struggle with converting. Some of you struggle with maybe getting the paperwork signed. A lot of you struggle with focus, procrastination. If you knew you couldn't fail, would you do the work? If you knew you couldn't fail, would you do the work? So I asked the question, how's your year going? Some of you said awesome. And then I asked you, what do you struggle with? And again, it could be finding a seller, connecting with the seller, or converting. So the blueprint for seller leads doesn't need to be challenging. I'm going to keep it simple. In 2025, I am going traditional. And let me tell you, when I talk about today's blueprint, because it'll get you back to work. You know, I was having a conversation a couple of days ago about Mina and I are reading a book. When we get finished with the book and when we talk, we're going to probably go live on YouTube to talk about the book. But one of the questions in the book was, what would you do if we lost internet service for 60 days in the United States? What would you do? What would you do? Some of you, when Meta goes down, when Instagram goes down, Facebook goes down, Twitter goes down, TikTok, what if TikTok goes away? Like, what would you do if you didn't have the internet for 60 days? Do you even have a contingency plan to connect with family? Do you have a contingency plan to do real estate? How would you do real estate? Some of you are like, email. Nope, you don't have it for 60 days. What would you do? Would any of you, Cayenne, know to do a handwritten note card? What if you couldn't? Because let me tell you what HP did, Hewlett Packard. Because we were paying monthly for our ink and we canceled it, they somehow have changed the system, and they probably always known they could do this, where we can't even use our copier anymore to use the ink if we bought it through them. So what would you do if you didn't have the internet for 60 days? Some of you are like, oh, I need a whole plan. Could you actually sell real estate? What if you didn't have the internet, you don't even have the MLS? Right. Uh-oh, look at that. Yes, I would have to then. But if no internet, then design of stamps would stop. So I need to go out and buy stamps. I need to go buy stamps, Cayenne. Is that what I'm hearing? Could you, I'm like, what would happen with the post office? Do you have a way to connect? I even told Mark to call. I'm like, my internet is going weird. Okay. I even see now my internet's getting glitzy because I'm talking about this. So I even said, Mark, call Xfinity and say, if you had a landline, is it based on the coax cable or is it voice over internet now? Like, I had so many questions. So this is why when I'm about to say what I'm going to teach you today, I need some of you to not just worry about social media, although you need social media. Some of you need to figure out the basics. So let's talk about the blueprint. And this is a blueprint that I wrote without ChatGPT. So don't think that I got this blueprint from ChatGPT. This is my years of work in real estate since 1997. Here we go. So today's blueprint will get you back to work. So let's get into the seller lead blueprint. Are you taking notes? If you're not taking notes, you can go look at the blog post later because I'm going to put this in a blog post. And by the way, every time I go live, if I remember to hit record, I make this a blog post. Although I probably could make one anyway. I'm trying to get my iPad down. I could probably make a blog post anyway because I typed out all my notes. So you ready? Here we go. Number 1. So this is number 1, 2, and 3, and then I'll break them down. Number 1, you need to discover and find the client. Number 2, you have to connect with the client, the potential client. How do you connect with the client once they reach out to you? Are you prepared? And number 3, converting the client. You have to know how to convert a client. And then number 4, preparing for the listing. If you do this, you can convert, period. If you do this, you can convert. I'm trying to adjust over here because I need to see this differently. So if you do this, you can convert. All right. So number 1, finding the client, your discovery. How are you going to find the client? Start with the people you know. And I mean, starting with the people you know. I had someone, because when people join the membership, and if you haven't joined the membership, you have until like I want to say Sunday night, but I think I scheduled the turn off on Monday. So when I say the people, oh, let me go back to let me get focused. So I had someone when they joined the private Facebook group say, I'm an introvert and I don't have a lot of friends. So again, I know that not everyone has a lot of people they know, but you can change that by getting up, getting dressed, and going outside. So start with the people you know. Send an email each month. It could be weekly or bi-weekly, but I need you to follow up with the people you know. I was talking to Hope, another real estate agent in Baltimore, and she said for 2025, she scheduled an email to go out to her agents every single month. You could, whether it's MailChimp or your CRM, whether it's Google, if you pay for Google or Outlook, you can schedule your emails to go every single month. I use MailChimp. If you're in the membership, there's a class you can watch. So start with the people you know. If you don't have a list of the people you know, this is where I know the mundane tasks kick in. You have to either create a Google form to get people to fill it out so you can create a spreadsheet, or you have to text people, or you have to type the spreadsheet. So how are you going to connect with the people you already know? And again, and I'll come back because I see the questions, and you might want to go to the question mark in the bottom right-hand corner if you have questions so I don't miss them. So what should the email be? We'll come back to that. B, target homes that are paid off. These owners have the ability to downsize and buy with cash once they close on their sale, or they have the ability to buy something else. And you might say, well, Carrie, there's no inventory. We have to change the narrative to create the inventory. C, pre-foreclosures. They have to do something. They got to give it back to the bank. They have to sell it as a short sale or a pre-foreclosure that's not upside down, or they have to modify that mortgage. So target pre-foreclosures. Mark and I, that's part of the list. It's a part of the monthly list. Mail to pre-foreclosures. That's part of the monthly list. Mina gave you a tip on connecting with people as an introvert. So those are 3. Now I'm going to come back and I'll define those more in a moment. Number 2, connecting with the clients. So now you've been doing marketing. You started with the people you know, and someone reaches out to you via text or email. It could be social media. It could be your direct messages. Are you prepared? There's the checklist. If you're in the membership, I got the whole seller system. I got a checklist for a checklist for a checklist. So when someone reaches out to you, what do you do when someone reaches out? And I'm going to go traditional. Now, you could use a Google form. You could use a notebook, but I'm going to tell you this, having a consultation form. So being able to ask the right questions, when did they call you? Asking, going through your checklist. So I have a 2-page checklist. Now I'm going to say it to you so you get it. It is, how do you want to communicate? Email, phone, text, WhatsApp, Facebook, other, whatever. Do you occupy the home? Yes or no? Is the home vacant? Type of home, single family, townhouse, condo, duplex, multi-unit. What kind of house is it? How many bedrooms, bathrooms, living room, dining room, etc. Is there a fireplace? Everything I need to know. Then it's, when do you plan on selling? Why are you selling? And I also added another question is, why did you buy your home? Because if I can get to the emotion of why you bought the home, I am converting doing this consultation. I'm already in the converting process because I'm doing what most agents don't do. Okay, you want to list your home? Okay, when can I come see it? Stop taking the fast route. Slow, right? What did they say? They say you can go fast alone, but you can go further as a group. You can go fast by just running over to the property, but you are more likely to convert by being a professional, by doing the work. All right, so you're asking all these questions. Do you need to sell to purchase? If you are moving out of state, I'd love to refer you to another realtor. When can I preview the home? And then you could say, I can preview today at 5 or tomorrow at 9 a.m. Like give some options and then schedule the appointment and then put them in your calendar. Don't go during dinner, by the way, because somebody's cooking oxtail or something and you're there hungry, they're hungry, and you're not getting through this property. And when I'm on the phone, I might even ask these questions about how old equipment is in the house, but I'm taking this with me. By the way, I said you could use a Google form. I said you could use traditional piece of paper. I also have this in Evernote on my iPad. And then I have a place to take notes when I get to the home, like here. I'm taking notes. Mark's talking to the homeowner. I jump in every occasionally because you can see this is my Carrie cursive, and I write in doctor shorthand, nurse shorthand. Don't even tell me how I learned it, but I learned it so people can't read my stuff. So you need, if you do this, you are better prepared than most agents. So again, use your seller consultation, ask the right questions, and schedule the appointment. Then go prepared with your seller packet. If you don't have one, you need one. If you do not have a seller packet, you need one. The quick route is, some of you I've heard have gone to Etsy, but some of you just need to log into your MLS because you might already have a system. I have Cloud CMA. You could probably create one in Canva. And you could also use, by the way, RPR made some updates, Realtors Property Resource, so that could be an option. So you can make updates there. Then let's see. So again, you can use Cloud CMA, you could use Realist to create a quick CMA, you could use Remind to create a quick CMA, you can use RPR because they've created some updated reports. Man, you are doing better than most agents. And then, or you can also create a quick CMA in the MLS. Look, somebody said they're taking an intake form using Jot forms. There you go. There's so many ways you can take your intake, seller consultation, discovery with the seller. And then when you get to the property, you should have already done research, Realist, Remind, RPR, your tax system. You've gone to the MLS. You've looked to see if the property was listed anytime now into the past. My MLS goes back to 1980. And then the listing input sheet. I have a question. How many of you actually use the listing input sheet from your multiple listing service? Tell me, tell the truth, own it. How many of you actually use it? Ours could be 12 pages because they've updated it. If you use the listing input sheet, you will then go prepared to a property to ask the questions you didn't know. Don't give it to the seller. Don't hand it to the seller. Don't. How many of you actually use it? So and by the way, let's see if I have it here. I do. I have on this clipboard the listing input sheet here. I don't need to use this anymore. I've been licensed since 2001. But I highlight what I didn't know. If you don't use this, let me tell you what you're not doing, Cayenne. You are not marketing the home at its best. Now, do you have to use this form in my MLS? You don't. You can open up your mobile device and walk through the property and start the listing process. But if you use this, you will actually list the property better because everything with an asterisk is required. Everything else is a marketing tool. Angela, you're my hero. I use the listing sheet input sheet at my appointment. I recommend that you do your intake as soon as you can, and then look at the listing input sheet before you go print out the Remind, Realist, or RPR report, go look up the tax records, go to the assessor site, and then fill out as much as possible. If you're new, fill it all out. If you're not new, highlight what you didn't know, or highlight what you don't even know what it is, and then go talk to your broker or your managing broker to ask the right questions. Thank you. They have it on the MLS for different types of properties. Yes. So even in Florida, we have it. But the value in Florida is I can fill it out actually on my computer or my iPad and then click send, and it'll send it to the MLS so I can list the house. Kind of slick. Maybe we'll get there. So you definitely need to do, if you do this, I have already helped some of you convert, because I promise you there are agents that don't do this, and you're already doing better than most agents. All right. And then now that you've gone through the property, you've walked through the property, you have taken notes. You're like, okay, they need to clean up. They need to pack. They need to, maybe they need to paint. Maybe you're taking notes. You find out how old the furnace is. They're like, oh, the furnace is new. Yeah, I've had it put in 5 years ago. That is not new. That is 5 years ago. You're asking all of these questions. And then when you're finished, you tell them, thank you so much. You give them, Mark, can you come give me a folder? You give them a seller packet. I'm probably not leaving you with my CMA, but you're giving them you can give them your cloud CMA, maybe take out the details, maybe give them some details. You're leaving them with the brochures that are required in your state. You're leaving them maybe with the disclosures because they're going to have to fill them out anyway. And then you're leaving them with your information. And then you say, I'm going to follow up with an email. I'm also going to follow up with a lot of the information that is here. So you don't have to keep the paper if you don't want to. You leave them with your folder. It could be your company folder. I know some of you have some cool folders with your brokerages. You can go buy these, make these. You can just go to Amazon and buy a blue folder and put a sticker on it. Leave something. You can go buy a cute box from Uline and put a sticker on it. You can have, I think it's bags and bows. There's so much you can do. You can even go on Amazon and buy a giant clear paint can and fill that up. Do something different. Do I pull title prior to the appointment? I have an attorney that'll do that for me. So yes, I like to I actually go do the research. I can probably get a lot of the information from the assessor site and or Realist or Remind before I go. So I like to know the truth because sometimes you'll get to the property and the person that's on that's called you might not be on title. So you do need to do your you do need to do your research. Now, I got this folder from All Things Real Estate. She shut down the business, but if you go to All Things Real Estate, I think it redirects you somewhere because she's collaborating with someone else. But again, the clear paint can could be kind of cool. Make sure you buy the right size because I bought the right size the first time I bought. So yeah, you can go to the recorder of deeds. There's so many places you can do research, but you should do your research. Just don't go blind. Now, again, you may know more than you want to know, but you can get the seller to kind of tell you what it is, even though you already know they're not paying their mortgage. All right. So now you say, okay, I'm going to follow up. And then you go back to the office that night or the next morning, you follow up with an email. You have already been converting. You might even say, give them a specific time before you leave when you're going to follow up. And then you can schedule a time to go over the updated market analysis because you've seen their house and it's absolutely gorgeous. And you're like, this is going to sell like fast. Then you go do your research. You create your CMA. You use data from your multiple listing service. I would use data from my MLS. And then I would also use InfoSparks. You could use data from RPR. So number 3, you're converting. So once you preview the home, provide the next steps and follow up with an email and a phone call with the next steps. It could be a Zoom call. It could be that you're going to go back and have all of the paperwork signed. I'm using DocuSign. Then number 4, again, prepare the listing paperwork and next steps. Tell the seller what's going to happen next. You can even, a part of the follow-up is a timeline. Some of you need to create a timeline. You're not converting because you don't have the steps. If you're in the membership, it's under the seller bootcamp and others under seller systems. You need to scan and plan. Somebody has the pre-listing clear paint cans. Not my idea. Saw that from another agent on Instagram. But it all works. So, and I'm going to come back to number 1 to talk about lead generation. So you will do the most working going after lead, the most work going after leads is what I want to tell you. That is where you do most of your work. It gets easier once someone calls. It might feel like work because you actually have to have a standard of practice. The hard work is in the follow-up. So you will do most of your work lead generating, but the harder work comes with the follow-up, and you have to have your checklist to follow up. If you're in the membership, go to the seller systems. So create a checklist to complete the work. If I were to go to, here, I'll tell you, I'm just going to go find it and I'll tell you what's in it. So let me go log into the membership and I'll tell you what's there. Here we go. So I'm under the seller bootcamp and I'm under the seller systems and I'm going to click the systems. And so I'm downloading the seller systems. Here we go. Come on. So working with sellers. So I have in my systems a pre-listing checklist. You're like, here, show me. What happens when the seller calls? Then I have the new listing checklist. Now, what happens when you have a new listing? Send them an email, send a letter in the mail checklist. Then I have my you're under contract checklist. Then I have my preparing for the closing and closed checklist. And then I have the do's and don'ts of working with sellers, the do's of working with sellers checklist, and I have the don'ts of working with sellers. Then I have the seller lead checklist. This one I'm going to actually show you. So let me grab my phone. Because this one, most of you aren't going to do the work. Here we are. Hold on. Let me flip my phone around. So here's my seller leads checklist. So, and again, for the simple version is for 2025, my simple version is canceled, expireds, the people we already know, and pre-foreclosures. And canceled and expireds is not necessarily the cancels and expireds that happen today. I can go back in time using Realist. I'll show you in the membership how to find that in a second. So here I have your neighborhood. You know, if I'm like, can you guys see this? Because I can't see this. Let me zoom in. So your neighborhood, pulling, you know, your mailing list from Realist, RPR, or Remind, ordering postcards, add the Cloud CMA, What's My Home Worth link, QR code, add the same marketing to Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, mail monthly, use data and free tips, create a free giveaway, repeat, and always follow up. I saw the question earlier on what do you mail? Cayenne, you know I want to tell you the data. Mail data to your clients. Sphere of influence, mail data once a month. If you're like, Carrie, I don't have the pocketbook, you can mail once a quarter. You can email this. Always ask for a referral, add a call to action, have an event for your sphere of influence. Create a Facebook group for your sphere, pop by their home with a gift during the holidays, or pop by their home, you know, pick someone once, you know, go see everyone maybe twice a year. Stop by their home with a in the summer with a gift. It could be the 4th of July. Everybody go to Costco or Sam's and buy the relish, the mustard, and the ketchup. Everybody needs that, right? And then I have converting. You need to add a strong call to action, follow up, asking for the business. Use that should say checklist to remember your follow up. Add your new leads to your CRM, and then social media. Create 160-second video daily. Go live once a week. Post real estate tips weekly. Share updates on the neighborhood you work in. Repurpose content. Share your real estate journey. Talk to people on what it's like. Now, don't put people down when you post. Think about that. So let me go back to, where did I put that membership link? Hold on. Was it here? Yeah. So for those of you in the membership, if you go to, what did I say I was going to show you? Under the seller bootcamp, if you are looking for, remind me, what did I say I was going to come to? Oh, expireds and cancels marketing. This is where you can go and go after cancels and expireds back in time. So using Realist. And if you go to lead generation, this is where marketing to generate leads. I have all of these lead generation videos. Oh, and then I said I was going to show you under the power hour. Some of this is going to get moved because I'm working on it today. I think the focus factor is where I have the checklist. Let's see. Yep, there they are. And this was the new one, I think. Let me click. Let's see. Nope, that's not the new one. I got to go add the new one. But either way, this one would work. But I like the new one. I really like, it's under success list. Oh, did I put it there? Thank you. So wait, let me go to the agent toolkit. Cayenne, you are now my new assistant. So under the success list, I put it at the top, the daily checklist. And if you're new, your first 90 days. And you really have no excuse, even though I do a for the cost of this, it's like nominal. I swear I don't charge everybody enough. Do you have anything about seller net sheets? Let me think about that. I know I have one. I don't know if I have a net sheet because of the different states, but Cayenne, I could probably send you one because you're in Illinois. So there you go. Let me stop sharing. I'm back. So you really, to review, you need to go generate leads. So I did a video the other day. Where's my notebook? Pre-foreclosures in Florida. In Osceola County, there were 900. In Kissimmee with 3 bedrooms, I found 113 that were not on the market because I was like, I need to dial this back because there were 500 in Kissimmee. And then in Bolingbrook and Romeoville, I found 118 pre-foreclosures. If you're struggling with converting, let me tell all of you, the value of going after a pre-foreclosure is that the pre-foreclosures, so they have to make a decision to do something. Even if it's they don't list, they still have to make a decision. And it's easier to have a conversation with someone that has to sell or they have to give the property back to the bank. So you can go watch my videos on pre-foreclosures in the seller boot camp because I go over that, or you can come see me in another class, short sale foreclosure rep. There's really no excuse. So I know Martha and Cayenne, if you email me at info@smartgirlmedia, or I'm just going to give a shout out to Jill Daniels. If you go to Jill Daniels, let me go find out what hers is. She has the net sheet on her website, but it's for Illinois. Let me tell you. Yeah, if you go to JillDanielsLaw.com, she has a net sheet right at the top. So if you're on YouTube, I'll post it. So this just might be a really good, that if you're in Illinois, I would check out hers. Did you find the pre-foreclosures in RPR or Remine? I actually found them in Realist when I did that research because I like Realist better, but you can find them in Remine and or RPR. Either one works. Yeah, Jill is good. Like she's just nice. And I've been doing this since 2001, and attorneys don't do what she does. All right, everyone. Well, do I have any questions? If I have questions, type them in the feed. If you are watching me over on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you are on Instagram and you have not subscribed,